If you were given the liberty to decide what should be your distinctive body part, which one would you want it to be? Well, this one for sure decided that it must be the nose. In this video, we are going to talk about the saiga antelope, as this beautiful beast right here will blow you away, literally, with the best nose in the world. Scientists often say that humans are genetically the closest to chimpanzees and that we have been born out of them pertaining to evolution. Well, that is correct. Evolution is a process that is associated with a change in the characteristics of a species over a prolonged period of time so that it can sustain the geographical dynamics. It ultimately comes down to the phrase, survival of the fittest. Humans have a tendency to adapt, respond to circumstances, and flip the outcome in their favor, and protect themselves from a potentially threatening environment. That's because they have the resources and the capability to do so. Hence, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit us, we were quick to manufacture masks and sanitizers in order to protect humankind from the deadly virus. But what about animals? Are they as capable to protect themselves as we are? Do they have the required resources to support their survival? Well, they might not have the resources, but thanks to evolution, they have their uniquely built bodies. Even if humans wanted to help out animals, they wouldn't have been able to provide the resources for the same. Animals are on their own and need to protect the survival of their species without any external help. One of the first animals to realize that was the saiga antelope. The saiga antelope is one of the seriously endangered species, which happens to live in just two regions, Russia and a few parts of Kazakhstan. Both of these places have extreme climatic conditions where summers are characterized by extreme heat and dust, and it is always freezing cold in the winters, and hence, to cope up, it frequently has to migrate. These antelope mostly prefer to live in open areas and steppes that don't have a lot of dense vegetation so that they can spot their predators from far away and run away if need be. The saiga antelope stands at around 60 to 80 centimeters in height and can weigh somewhere between 26 to 70 kilograms. Another distinctive feature of the antelope is its upper layer of coat. What's unique about the coat is that it changes color according to the season. In summers, it appears to be red and yellow in color, while it changes back to its original beige color in winters. Now, if you look at the animal, you might notice something strange in its appearance: its nose. It has a rather weird-looking, long, inflated nose, but definitely not an ordinary one. It is almost like it possesses special powers, as if saigas are coming straight out of Star Wars. The nose of the saiga antelope has a lot more to offer than just being a sense organ. Considering the extreme weather that it lives in, and with a little bit of help from evolution, the antelope has grown a nose that helps in its survival. Apart from giving it a keen sense of smell, both the nostrils of the long nose also filters the extreme dust in dry summers and warm the cold air in winters. As if this wasn't enough, the nose also helps the animal to communicate and find a partner. Studies have shown that the male saigas make a heavy nasal roar to display their masculinity and in an attempt to impress the female saigas. Yes, that's all it takes to impress a female saiga. So to all our male viewers out there, show this video to your respective partners when they start nagging about your snoring. Jokes apart, when a team of scientists dissected the saiga's nose in 2004, they found various huge chambers that were almost like natural filters and helped in cleaning the air while inhaling. This helped the animal to breathe in better air quality, thus resulting in healthier lungs. This was of great significance considering the fact that they are one of the fastest animals with a speed of about 50 miles per hour. Hence, it was critically important for these antelopes to inhale fresher air. More so, because they migrate a lot and cover more than 1,000 kilometers each year. There's another interesting fact that makes their strange nose look even weirder. When they run, they tend to keep their noses in great proximity to the ground, so much so that it almost looks like a vacuum cleaner from a distance. However, the major question remains that from where did the saiga antelope get this special trait? Evolution and the study of fossils point out to the fact that the saigas weren't originally or naturally built like this. Although we do have evidence that their ancestors also had not-so-small noses, but weren't as big as it is today. Overall, apart from the nose, in terms of body structure and anatomy, the saiga seems to have changed very little since ancient history. Another research exclusively demonstrates that all the other animals of that ancient time became extinct, but only the saiga survived. What was so inherently unique about the saiga that contributed towards its survival in such a difficult climate, especially when the other animals had succumbed to the elements? According to some theories given by scientists, saigas were faster than the other animals. Faster in the sense that they multiplied and reproduced faster. And you thought rabbits were fast. Their metabolism rate was faster too. They also used to migrate and adapt to the changing environment faster than any other animal. They could easily cover long distances while running and could also swim, unlike other animals. And as far as their diet is concerned, they can also eat poisonous plants without harming themselves. These traits probably would have been a key impact on their survival. The saigas, over the times, have survived a whole lot of global disturbances, but ironically enough, they have ended up on the verge of extinction. So what went wrong, even after it being such an adaptive creature? A lot of you might be wondering that the ruthless greed of some humans must have compelled them to kill the saigas, thus resulting in them being endangered. Well, that's partially true to a certain extent, but humans did not have as much of a huge role to play in. There were other factors, like bacteria, that often resulted in mass extinction for the saigas, as it only took a day for the bacteria to spread to the entire body and kill the infected animal. The population of the saigas has drastically dropped down from being 1 million to just around 1,000 or 2 worldwide. They have easily become the species with the fastest and most rapid extinction rate. Looks like the nose was not as sufficient as we thought it to be. A tragic series of events unfolded in May 2015 when more than 200,000 saigas died in just a span of 2 days. The particular reason for this tragedy was the immense physiological impact, especially on the female saigas after giving birth. Saigas have a unique giving birth strategy to protect themselves from predators. They gather in huge numbers for a restricted period of time when they know that the little ones are coming. By collectively gathering like this, they are easy prey for wolves, their main predator, but this proportionally reduces the risk of each individual newborn being attacked. You can surely imagine the physical and mental trauma they go through during this time, trying to protect themselves as well as their newborns. They usually give birth in the rare moderate weather on the carpets of the lush green grass that prevails just before the harsh summer kicks in. This unusual strategy of saigas often results in the females becoming stressed, extremely weak, and finding it difficult to survive the severity of the circumstances. Indeed, history has it that the act of giving birth has never been easy, be it for humans or for animals. In a later study, the infection that potentially caused this mass mortality in 2015 was called pasteurellosis. However, this unfortunate incident wasn't something that had happened for the first time for the saiga antelopes. A very similar one happened back in the 90s too, when their population had declined by a rate as high as 95%. The root cause of this major decline was mass poaching that had started for the animal's horns. To see the saiga extinction taking place on such a large scale, it is almost impossible to imagine that this species has the highest reproductive potential as compared to others. Did you know that the female saiga reaches reproductive maturity within just a few months of being born, while the male saigas can take up to 2 years to attain sexual maturity? The mating season starts in November, and after keeping the babies in their wombs for almost 5 months, they finally give birth around springtime. Several steps to conserve and protect the saiga antelope were put in 2006 when a lot of major countries signed an MOU concerning conservation, restoration, and sustainable use of the saiga antelope. A plan to support this MOU was implemented from 2011 to 2015. It clearly states and defines top priorities related to protecting the animal from extinction. These priorities were anti-poaching measures, sustainably trading only as and when required, etc. The entire remaining population of the saigas was closely monitored and research studies were conducted to implement effective ways of protecting them. The US has been actively playing a role in this since 2000. Significant steps were also taken towards the conservation of the subpopulation. Talking about subpopulations, the saiga antelope species currently has 5 groups. The largest group lives in Kazakhstan, whereas the rest of the smaller groups live in parts of Russia. Not just in Kazakhstan and Russia, but the saiga antelopes also hold great ecological and cultural values in Mongolia. The major population in Mongolia consists of a subspecies of saiga known as the Saiga tatarica mongolica, which is around 750 in number. Apart from large-scale poaching and mass deaths due to diseases, the development of high-end industries and rapid urbanization has also posed a huge threat to the habitats of the saigas and ultimately to their survival. Let us know your thoughts about this beautiful beast in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, see you on the next one.